want to make sure that you can see my screen. I was having some issues screen sharing, so I'll be monitoring the chat. Can you go in the chat and let me know that you can in fact see my screen? Okay, yes, you can. Perfect. It was giving me challenges to show to the screen share. All right, so recording started. Let's get started. And Mark, I got your message. We'll price changes after demo. Okay, we'll change that. Okay, so I'm gonna make a quick change here.
Oh, I already did that. We're good.
You did? Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So did you share the slides to everyone?
I have not. Let me go ahead. I think that's the last thing in my. Let's see if we got this. Look at that.
Perfect.
I got
Okay.
like 50 billion of these.
All right. So welcome everybody to the bi-monthly webinar for RightTool for QuickBooks Online. We're going to cover today version 1.027.28, which basically means everything that we've done on RightTool up to December 11th, 2024. Essentially, we're going to be covering November and part of December updates.
Oh, and actually we need to change that real quick. This is actually 27.9. I think that was from our last.
Yep. So there was there was a quick update this morning, I assume. All right, perfect. So the last webinar we did was on October 16th, and the recording is on YouTube, so you can watch it. You can see everything that with all the new features we added in September and October. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, because that's how you're going to know when new features are created, all the webinars, all the new announcements. That's mostly going to be in YouTube. That's literally, you subscribe, you'll be notified in your YouTube app when a new feature has been created, because we essentially create a video for every new feature that we create. The next bi-monthly webinar is scheduled for February 5th of 2025. Hector. February 5th of 2025. There's slides there that give you a full RightTool one-on-one tutorial that was recorded about 6 or 7 months ago. A new one will be recorded soon, so we'll have that. And most importantly, make sure you join our Facebook group. It's the best place to get feature requests, updates, and you can also reach out to Mark if anything is broken with RightTool that needs immediate attention type of thing. For today's agenda, we're going to talk about some scheduled and planned changes for 2025. We're going to talk about the new Pro website design. We redesigned the Pro website for Pro users. We'll talk about some of the roadmap we have for Pro users, the stuff that we're working on right now. Then we'll go deep into new updated features for November and December. We'll talk about support, best place to get support, quickest place to get support, and how to give us the best possible information that we need to go to support quickly. And also talk about pop-ups. There's just been a lot of talk about pop-ups inside QBO, and then what we're trying to do when it comes to pop-ups. So, all right. So, Mark, this was okay to cover now, or right?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay. Yeah. So, all right. So there's one section of RightTool which covers bank rules, bank feeds and bank rules, which we are going to move to Pro. And we're going to be working really, really hard over time on getting all of these features working on the new version of bank feeds. If you went to Intuit Connect, or if you've seen, maybe you've seen some announcements, bank feeds is being completely redesigned. The whole page things are being moved around. Mark and I are both apprehensive about that, because obviously that basically is going to, all the features that RightTool have will immediately stop working when it gets redesigned. So we have to grab every single feature we've created and then rebuild it on the new bank feeds. It could also mean that some features that have worked in the past will never work because of the way the structural changes on the page. And it could also mean that we'll find some opportunities to add new features because of new structural changes. So it's going to be a box of surprises, and we're going to add some additional resources to that. We're probably going to hire up next year and have a person just helping Mark on rebuilding bank feeds. So because of that, we made the business decision, even though Mark has always been against moving free features to Pro. I'm kind of on the other side. Actually, if it was for me at this point, we would only have paid versions of RightTool, but we we made a commitment to have a free version of RightTool. So we'll continue to have a free version of RightTool that will not contain the bank feeds and the bank rules. And we'll talk about them really quick. But we made 2 exceptions. So we're going to leave 2 of them for free. One is going to be bank feed additional detail. And we'll demo that really quick, just in case people forgot what that was. That's going to stay in free, mostly because that's been the #1 feedback of like the most valuable part of it. So we'll keep it in free. So people thought that we were collecting, which is the best one, so we can move that one to pro. It's actually the opposite. The most valuable one, we're going to keep it in free. And the second one we're going to leave free is Google Memo in bank feeds or use Bing instead, just because it's really a simplistic feature. So we're going to keep that too. And that's really highly valuable as well. So Mark, before you get into the new features, let's go ahead and show those. And then you can do Google Memo or Bing, whatever you want. Yeah. All right, so that's good enough. So I'm actually going to give you stop sharing and give you power, Mark, so you can share your screen.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay. So yeah, gotta get the ability to share.
There you go.
Let's see here. And there we go. So share and screen 2. Gotcha.
Okay, so if you can get started with, let's go into
yeah.
Bank. Let's go into the settings and look at the bank feeds and rules section so we can contextualize it.
Gotcha.
So all of these features that you're seeing there, they're under bank/rule improvements. All of those features, with exception of bank feed additional detail, which is the very first one, and Google Memo and or / sub option to use Bing instead. Those 2 are going to stay in free, and they're probably going to be moved to error prevention, which is a section that we have space in. I know it doesn't make a lot of sense, but that's where we have space, where we don't clutter the settings. So those things are going to remain in free starting January 1st, 2025, but everything else is going to go to pro. Another, go back to the settings for a second. Okay, so that's,
yep.
Mark, finish what you're going to show.
Oh, yeah. I was just going to show that this is basically the red text that shows up underneath the descriptions inside of the bank lines, as well as the ability to, when you go in, you'll see that there is I have pro version on, so they have some extra things here, but you'll see I have Bing Memo because I turned on Bing. That'll stay as well. So I like that. Did not buy anything from Adobe. Why did I get this? Oh, me.
All right, so go back into the settings. So the other area that I was actually lobbying to move to pro was classic reports, but the agreement that I have with Mark is we're gonna keep classic reports. Can you click on the classic reports, Mark, please? We're gonna keep this as free. However, every setting in here only works in the old version of reports and the classic version of reports. Most of these features, or actually none of these features, work on the new modern view. So anything that we start adding to reports that works in modern view will go to pro. There will be,
I guess the only exception to that would be the audit log transaction date filter, but that's a weird, we'll do something with that.
Right. Well, I mean, once they redesign audit logs to the new modern screen, we'll probably have the same issue. And it's just a different platform, it's different programming. Basically, it's just redesigning brand new tools. So for however long classic reports still exist, we don't know how long they're going to exist for. A couple of months ago, they Intuit talked about completely moving.
To be fair, they've done that for about 2 years at this point.
Correct. So completely moving the platform to modern reports, and one of the dates they threw out there was May of 2025. So it looks like we may have this duality of classic reports and modern view reports for a couple more months, and it won't really. This feature will probably just be useful until Intuit completely kills that. Okay, so we'll keep classic reports in there, but any modern view report features will be under pro. Okay. So, yeah.
Good. And, as I know, everybody's has, feelings one way or the other about modern view reports. I do think they're getting better. They're never going to fix, I think, the thing that I wish that they would about them, but
Yeah.
That's a separate issue.
Now, one thing that would be useful, Mark, just to add some context, if you are a free user, can you go into the settings and log out for a second, just to kind of
Oh yeah.
log out? So when you go into RightTool, on the top right, it's going to tell you the version of RightTool and whether or not it's free or pro. If you are a pro user and yours is showing free, people forget sometimes they got to log in to the righttoolpro.com website to be able to enable that. So click on login, and then you're going to see a brand new website. That's righttoolpro.com. And to log in, you go into account on the top right and click on login. So that's part of the process of restoring your pro features. You have to log in, okay? And hey, what happened to, hold on, go back for a second. What happened to the SSO, Intuit SSO, Mark?
It was being a pain in the butt, and considering the only purpose, I think people were getting confused about needing to link their QBO account to RightTool in order to make everything work. And it was causing more support requests than the actual value, which the only purpose it was there for was so you didn't have to remember a username and password to log
Correct.
in to RightTool. But people were thinking it meant more than it actually did. So it was, rather than explain that 50 times a day, and by 50 I really mean like 3, but that's still more than any other support request
Sure.
we got. I was
So
like,
you
we're just
remove
removing that.
okay. So if
Yeah.
you don't know your right tool, log in, you just put your email and click on forgot password and go through that process.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so
Yeah.
go ahead and log in. So once you log in, this is the new page, the new pro page. Doesn't have new functionality, it's just prettier.
It's mostly prettier. The main thing that's nice about this is, one, we can actually add stuff to this easier than with our last website. And the second thing is, now you don't have to go through, if you need to change, if you need to cancel your subscription, update your card, or like look at your billing history. Now you don't have to, actually do like the process we had before where you had to give it an email, it'd send you a link to Stripe so you can see all that. Now you can see everything from inside of this page. You don't have to do extra logins. So
Yeah, that's
just
awesome.
something that's very nice for, again, support purposes, so people don't have to ask us for it.
All right, somebody's asking if can you change from monthly to annual or vice versa in this page?
Yes, you can change. You can click on update plan, and it will. I think it might be weird for me because I have a free like developer account thing going on.
Yeah.
So the update plan is either not working for me because of that, or I'm just doing something weird.
Okay.
But yeah, you can update it from there.
So in theory, you should be able to go in there and do that. And there's a price break for paying annual. So when you pay
Yes.
monthly, it's $50 a month plus 15 per additional user. When you pay annual, is $500 a month plus 150 per additional user. And the additional user could be team members of your firm, or it could be clients too. So you can
Yeah.
add a client as a team member, and you can pay the $15 in your client's behalf. That's been something that gets asked a lot.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a cool to have that new website available. Hope, and that's gonna play into some of our future plans as well that Hector will talk about later. So we're really excited about the fact that that's released, and thankfully Patrick's wife is doing better now. So I think we'll have a lot of stuff coming in the future to help on that front. So I'm happy about that.
Patrick, just for some context, Patrick is so this company is owned by the three of us, Mark, Patrick, and myself. Patrick worked behind the scenes for the first couple of years, and then he quit his job to come to RightTool full time. And Patrick is a co-developer like Mark. As a matter of fact, Mark calls Patrick his mentor. So Mark learned from Patrick, and Patrick is absolutely brilliant, but he's been a little bit out of commission with some health issues. But now we're going to have another programmer helping us build even more cool things in the back end, and a new tool that we're going to discuss in a little bit.
Yeah. Uh, oh yeah. If you're having trouble, if you ever, this is kind of a random thing. If you ever have trouble getting your right tool options to show, by the way, it's probably because an update went out, and Google is sometimes a mean person about that. If you click on, and let me just redo that again. If you go to the gear icon up top and you click on right tool for QuickBooks Online, and then click on Did I say gear or did I say puzzle piece? I think I said gear.
You
Puzzle
said
piece
here,
icon.
you meant to say puzzle piece. Yeah.
Yeah, and click reload extension. That should fix the problem if you can't get your RightTool settings to open. And if you have an issue, feel free to message me in general at mark@monkb.com. It's in the slides, but I'll put it in here in the chat real quick. Mark. Oh my goodness, I cannot type. Okay, here we go. Yes, Brave is quite nice. That is what I use. So getting into the next part of this, which is new and updated features. Unless you had something else you wanted to add, Hector.
No, that's good. Let's go to the new features.
Yeah. So the new features. First of all, we have a new feature. It's actually an addition to an existing feature in error prevention, and that is copy info to memo and transactions. What that basically means is, and let me see, did I close out my settings? Yeah. Okay. So in error prevention, you can see here, copy info to memo in transactions. This was originally designed to make it so that if you had a transaction, and this is a bad example of one, but if you had a transaction that was linked to a bank feed action, it would actually allow you down here to see a thing that said like, oh, this is in the example we had before, it said Adobe. You know what? Let's actually just do that real quick. Let's just add Adobe in here. And then let's go to that real quick. So what would happen before with this feature? It's because of the fact that I'm demoing things that everything wants to move slower than usual. It's always how it goes. Let's refresh the page. Never in my life had an issue. I mean, I know other people have, but never had that issue. And then I'm going to, so what before happened was that when you came into a transaction, and you didn't have the memo in here from an online banking match, we always had this feature down here that lets you basically put that into the memo. It's not doing it right now because of the fact that I just did weird stuff. But what we did is, oh, actually, the reason it's not doing it is because this is an expense. If you're ever wondering why we don't have as many features out this month than we usually do, that expense page is like the reason.
They change it every week for some reason.
They have been doing some crazy stuff with the expense page for some reason, and it's fine, but it's also incredibly annoying. Oh, interesting. We'll talk about that later too.
But Mark, that's what I was telling you earlier, that it wasn't working on my expense.
Yes, that's what I figured that out. I found out that's what it was, is that the expense page is, they messed with something again, which is great. So I'm just going to go to this feature, or to this build over here, so I can show you what the feature is supposed to do. So I come into here, and eventually my world, I even had everything set up and everything.
I
It's
told you,
crazy.
I think something's up, something's wrong with the, oh, there you go.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, so what this feature does is we've added a new functionality to it, copy names to memo and copy descriptions to memo. So what happens with this is basically just like what it says. For this one, you can see we have a client/project in here that says AA dot, and it will actually take that and it'll add it to here. If you had multiple clients and projects, it would actually do a comma separated list and show you like, okay, so the clients are AA dot and then whoever else. The same thing now applies for copy descriptions to memo. So you can see here we have a description that says November insurance, and we have a description that says Garden Rocks. Don't ask why those two things are in the same bill.
Yeah.
But you can see here, if I click on that, it automatically adds those things to the memo. So now when you're searching a report, you can you can actually see what everything is in the memo, depending on how it is you like to see it.
The context here is, the context here is that some reports contain line items, some don't. Some reports or some screens, or most screens, like an expense screen or a vendor screen, when you see the transactions, the memos don't come from line items. It comes from the transactions memo, from the header memo. So we can't automatically get the reports to get the data from the details.
Yeah.
And it would require an API based tool for us to like grab a bunch of transactions and push it. But at least in a transaction by transaction basis, we have a button that could save you the copy and paste process of getting that. And some people want to get the customer job name. Some people want to get the description. The only thing I would add is, Mark, instead of copy names to memo, I would put copy client project or customer project to
Well,
memo.
the problem is this also works in like journal entries where it could potentially be vendors or I don't know, whatever else you can call a vendor. I know there's 15 different things QuickBooks will let you do.
So I would say
Uh,
copy line. I would do copy line names. I would
yeah,
change
that's fair. That's fair.
copy line names. Just again, I just sometimes the payee. You know what? Every report is going to show the payee correct on the header anyway. I would just call it copy line, but the feature name can be called copy info. That's fine.
Yeah,
But what
and
I
that
mean,
is where this feature is, by the way, again, just for people asking. It is an error prevention copy info to memo in transactions.
yeah, that feature should be in Pro, by the way, but different discussion that we need. Okay, that's totally a Pro feature. Where that's no matter how you slice it or dice it, that's only something that pros would actually do. But
Fair enough.
okay,
That's a fair point.
let's go to the next thing.
Yeah. This next one is a very small one. This is inside of QBO short-term enhancements. Um, if you go to the bank feed now, this is something that admittedly it's so small I questioned even adding it to this as like a part of this update. But basically what it is now whenever you go into a bank feed and you click on match, when the page opens up, you'll immediately be able to start typing into the search reference now. So if I type in E balance, that search bar, it used to be it didn't get automatically focused. Now, as part of a short-term enhancement for QBO, it makes it so you don't have to click into the search bar. It's a small thing, but something I want to make people aware of.
Yeah, the location of that is confusing to me because like QBO short-term enhancements traditionally was for you to fix all the weird little quirks with the invoices.
Yeah, but if I can't make a whole feature for this one setting, but I also don't know of
I
any other
would,
feature I could put it
I
in.
would,
Well,
I
okay.
I would do that and put it on the bank feeds because
Fair enough.
because it's just hard like for people to turn on short-term QBO enhancements and try to guess what's in there. It's just kind of weird.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. But the next thing is going to be clear zero lines button. This is something I'm going to put in my quick notes, so I'm going to skip this one for now. Well, actually, I'm going to show you what it is, but in a separate section here. So I'm just going to copy this down 9, and then I'm going to copy this down 9, and then I'm going to change this to 0. So we have a feature inside of QBO that is clear zero value lines. So what that will do is it will look at all the lines in here that are zeros, except for the very top one, and remove them instantly for you. So that's a feature we had. We just added that to the deposits page. However, QuickBooks just updated the deposits page this week, apparently. So,
Of course.
like I have to redo that whole thing. So that's fun. But I'm sure it'll be fine. It's probably just like a random thing somewhere. But yeah, so is that in the invoice page too? I believe so.
Yeah, this started in the journal. By the way, this started in the journal entry. That's
Yeah.
like that's where the original. And then people kept saying, "Oh, what about this screen? What about that screen?"
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's in the, in fact, I'm sure it's in the invoice page because again, every page, QuickBooks is making every page different nowadays. So I
Yeah,
have to work in each one individually, which is fine. It's fine. It's fine.
yeah. Like what's interesting is that most people assume that if you get it working on one screen, you can just copy and paste it on the other screen. You literally have to every page you have to. I mean, the logic is the same, but
Yeah.
the coding is different because the fields, like the trash can button, whatever the action that gets pressed by clicking on the trash can, which is essentially what it's doing. We're macroing pressing the trash can, has a different name on every screen and a different location. So like finding it and the amount field also has a different name and different properties. So it's a new program. Every single screen is a new program.
Yeah, a little bit, but it's fine. It's fine. The next thing, bulk change customer slash project in lines. This one I'm actually really excited to show because of the fact that I have had a love-hate relationship with this feature for a long time. Uh, so what happens with this one is we have a feature. You can come into here and let's actually change this customization a little bit to a couple of extra months here. So let's say you have a bunch of transactions. This is a small amount, but that's not the point of transactions that do not have a client attached to it or a name attached to it.
Yep.
So what this does is you can already add I think anyways, you can already add customers to you, son of a gun, uh, to the reclassify
No, you can't.
page.
No,
Oh,
you
you
can't.
can't. Okay, well
You can only add customers after the fact to bank feeds. That's the only place where they added batch adding customers.
yeah. So that's exactly so what Hector said there. But we don't have really much of a way like inside of the lines of a transaction. So this one should probably work. If you look inside this transaction, there's not really a great way for us to go in and change the client slash project or whatever name it happens to be inside of each of these transaction lines. So we created a feature. Actually, I'm going to open this up in a new tab and then I'm going to do the feature just so you can see. We've recently changed this. So now if I'm like, I want to actually add the customer of Ali, that was a terrible choice. I should have said something I could actually pronounce easily. Um, and then I'm going to just select a bunch of these transactions and then run batch. It used to be I had to open up every transaction and go into each of the lines in order to update it, but now I can do it without having to do that.
How do you
So
think, how does that happen, by the way, without getting into the weeds of the technical aspects of it? But how
I don't know if I should say. I don't know how many Intuit people are here.
I don't okay, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We figured out how to do it. That's good enough.
Yeah, so it's a lot faster now, and it's better for Intuit side because they don't have to load the entire transaction or anything like that. So it's I'm very happy with it. It makes me much happier because it was always a bit buggy before. Now, if people have had issues with that in the past, uh, you should be able to do it easier now. Now, there's still going to be hiccups along the way, but if you find them, reach out to me.
That's a big breakthrough though. Like if we can insert things on transactions in batch without having to open them, that removes all the weird speed and delay quirks that we have with opening new transactions.
Yes, exactly. So there's a lot of things I've been using that particular tech on. I've been very excited to. It's another reason why a lot of these are improvements rather than new features is because of the fact that discovering that was very helpful to some of our stuff.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah,
Almost like an API access.
it is almost. It's as close to API access as you can get without actually being API access.
This is making me come back to RightTool feature design. So just some background here. I'm trying to focus on the next tool that we're building and kind of leave Mark to run this, but like this actually opens up a whole new kind of worms and the stuff that we so
there's a lot of exciting things happening on that front.
Very cool.
But yeah. The next thing to show is going to be this is a new thing inside of Reconcile Pro, and that is skip confirmation when saving transactions. The reason I named it this way is because it's already in Reconcile Pro, so I didn't add the fact that it's reconcile confirmation when saving transactions. And just to show you what we've got going on here, let's say we have this journal entry right here and I'm gonna turn it off actually just so you can see. So we have this journal entry right here. You can tell it's reconciled because we have that nice little RightTool reconciled indicator up here. And once I refresh this page, what happens is even if you don't make a change, actually, if I come over here and I click save, you'll see it gets this whole thing that says change this transaction. Are you sure you want to change this? Because, it's reconciled and all that stuff. This is why we put this in Pro. For most people, or for like regular users, this is something you want to have. But and also they made this little checkbox. But for us as pro users, that's a little bit annoying to have to deal with every single time, especially now that they added that checkbox in.
Yeah.
So we've added this feature. And if I refresh this page now,
Right. That, in my opinion, that should only exist if you're changing the dollar amount or the date.
you would think, but it actually doesn't matter what you change. It will
Right.
do that pop up. So now you can see there, it does make the pop up come up for a second. It turns out you have to do that or else it does weird things.
Right. Like you're clicking on the pop-up for us.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's kind of the new thing there. As you can see, it was very quick. You didn't have to, do anything there. It's still more annoying than if it just worked, but at least it's not, at least it's quick enough.
Yeah.
So that's a cool new feature. We got a recommendation. Actually, a lot of people asked for that one in the Facebook group.
Yeah.
If you want to get something done, ask in the Facebook group, and then tell people to swarm it with likes, and then I will
Yeah.
feel deep spiritual shame to get it done.
Yeah.
Uh,
Same thing if something's broken, right? Like if something's broken.
yes. Well, if something's broken, it doesn't matter where you tell me. I'm gonna fix it as
Right.
fast as I can, anyways.
Yeah. The funny thing is that sometimes something could be broken for some people and not for others because they're like we have to open different versions of QuickBooks, to see which group of people might have this, or maybe a Canadian person has it broken on their side and somebody from outside the US. So it's like
Yeah.
you need to know, like, we need to prioritize on the biggest problem.
Canadians are simultaneously some of my favorite users, but also the fact that QuickBooks doesn't update theirs the same way that it updates the United States one is fun to say the least.
Sure.
And then the final feature that we have that's new or fixed in this case is batch delete in search. So that's in Batch Pro, batch delete and search. This is a feature that we had, but then QuickBooks changed the search page to this new search page, which is actually pretty decent. I'll give credit to where credit's due. It's pretty decent. So they've updated it to this new version of this page. Just to get this working for the people who absolutely need this to work, we have put in a stopgap for the batch delete right now. What I mean by stopgap is that, like, I will improve this feature in the future, but there was somebody who needed it like yesterday. So when I put it in, I kind of cut some corners here. So let me just show what that means. Let me filter this so that I don't have like a billion bills in here. A little bit too much, but still not the point. You'll see now there's a batch delete button in here. This will batch delete everything that is currently shown in the page of the search.
Everything on the page.
Everything. Yeah. So just be aware, everything that is currently showing.
There's no way to undo deleted transactions.
Yeah, exactly. So just be clear, you want to search this, you want to get everything as filtered as possible. And we also put not 2, but 3 things in here to make sure you are aware that it's going to delete all visible things on this page.
Yeah.
And then once you do that, it will delete it.
So right now, the reason why Mark says, sorry, the feature's not complete is because we don't have the traditional checkbox so you can pick what you want to delete.
Yeah. We will go into that. And yes, you can shorten the page with the baby gear and again, filtering as well. On that same note, that same person, it turned out that I did all of that and that same person actually needed something else after all of that anyways. So this also, different level. Yeah, that's fair. This also goes into another thing. I updated the extension. So that's why that does that. So if I go to purchase order, open purchase orders detail,
The detail or the
detail is the one I put it in. I mean, I think any open purchase order thing will work.
Okay.
I deleted these too many times and now we don't have any to show, but we now have a batch delete that only works inside of the open purchase order. It doesn't have to be detailed, but it only works inside open purchase order because some people have asked in the past, like, hey, I have like a whole list of purchase orders that were open that the person never went through and
let's create a purchase order real quick just so we can see it there.
Yeah. Purchase order. My brain is going to work eventually. Yeah, and there's a good statement there, which is there maybe a possibility we make a version of QuickBooks or of RightTool Pro for users that are not wanting to be able to have access to batch delete features? That is a good question.
Right. Right.
Uh,
Well, actually, that's going to tie into something we're going to discuss, actually.
yeah.
Yeah.
Choose a vendor, spare foods, save, and then we're going to just close this. So yeah, you can see here we have this open purchase order. You can filter this however you want. So again, this is kind of like the other one. We're going to eventually add in the stuff to make this selectable. But for now, just realize you need to filter this report like
Right.
strenuously. And then you'll again get that three warning messages, like making absolutely sure, or two, I guess in this case.
Oh, so it still batches deletes everything on the screen.
Yeah,
So I would change that to batch delete all I would actually literally call that batch delete all transactions.
fair enough. Yeah, we can put that in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the last thing on that front. But yes, we will come back to that feature, to those features in general, just to make sure that we can add a little bit more control over it.
Okay, here's a good one from Key Accounting. It says, how about when you batch delete, create a CSV of everything that was deleted?
Yeah, we technically have something like that in the
register one.
In the register one, we could probably bring most of that over into the into this feature. It wouldn't be too hard to do.
Yep.
So, can we get a spreadsheet sync with more capabilities? No.
Yeah, we can't.
Not with RightTool anyways. There's things like LiveFlow and other stuff. Well, maybe not more capabilities, but I don't know the details of that.
That's what
But
Sasan could be used for, that sort of stuff.
yeah. Yeah. So that is the last part. And then is it possible to add unbilled transactions to the transaction type on the search your transaction page? I think so. I think that's one of those things where you have to kind of look into it. Where is, oh, it's because I did this on this one.
Yeah. So I think it's because they want to delete unbilled like I think this person is trying to figure out how to delete unbilled transactions. I assume that's what you're trying to do, right?
Yeah. I think that the search really, okay. It's because apparently QuickBooks just does not like you having open a certain number of tabs. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Untag is a little bit harder. Deleting is something that is not super, super difficult to do. I don't know. Is that? I don't think that's unbilled charge though.
Yeah, it's billable charge. It's billable charge. The thing is that what we don't know if it's
can you filter it for unbilled?
Yeah, if it hasn't been billed yet. Can you click on one of those? Click on one of those?
Yeah. Well, I'm sure these haven't been billed. I just get that feeling.
Yeah.
Mark is billable on this bill. I don't know what it's referring to there, but
that one's been billed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those see if I let you delete them.
Yeah.
I'll let you delete all of them.
Okay, so it's not letting you. Okay, so if it's not, I guess if it's already attached to something, it won't let you delete it anyways.
Or the function is just not working on this one. Like,
It's possible.
You're not opening, just so you understand, you're not opening each one and trying to find the delete button. You're actually running a delete command on this.
Yes.
Grab the available chart. Maybe you can't. Maybe you just can't delete. There's no delete.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe you just can't delete billable charges in general.
Yeah. So that's just a reality.
Okay.
You
Fair
can't
enough.
billable charges.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, something to learn from that, and then yeah, in the future we'll figure out something. It's something people might need to post on the Facebook group what you want out of that, so that we can have a good idea of what to do there. Because I think we need to crowdsource that one.
Can you go into the search, the RightTool search, and just type unbilled? What do we have there now?
Oh, you mean just like unbilled in terms of like what pages?
Let's see what's in there.
We have unbilled charges. It's a
report.
Well,
what if no, stay on this one?
Yeah.
What if we execute the delete button here?
Yeah, if we can figure out how to delete it, which I'm sure I could figure something out.
Now, right. Well, correct. Let's go to time charge. Can you delete a time charge? Let me see. You probably can't. That's the reality. So you can't delete
Well,
not transactions that can be deleted. That's the oh, this one can.
oh
That
yeah.
time activity can be. So that's interesting. I don't know if I want to delete.
Yeah, and actually, in the same way oh God, we're really getting into it now. In the same
Well,
way that we have the reclassify line batch thing now, we could go in and it looks like people really would like to uncheck this box right here, I
yeah,
think, for
exactly.
billable hour. We
Exactly.
could
That's a
do
good
that
idea.
with the
That's
same
interesting.
feature.
That's interesting. Can we batch unmarked billable? So we
Yeah, I think we
figure out,
could.
so first we got to figure out how to generate the report that marks billable, and then how to go back and mark unbillable. Yes, that would be interesting.
Yeah. Again, put it in the Facebook group so I have a reminder, but
Yeah,
not necessarily you, Hector, but somebody.
there's like 17 messages on the chat. I think we should write it down.
Yeah, fair enough. Change, yeah, especially if you can give a little bit more detail as to why, because that helps me out a little bit.
Yeah,
And changing unbillable
we'll
status.
we'll, we'll explore that.
Yeah,
That's good.
we will.
Yeah,
Um, yeah. With that being said, I already mentioned earlier, deposit page was updated sometime either this week or like over the weekend. I don't know which. Those features will be fixed tonight. And then
Mhm.
there's two features I want to look back at in the 1099 section of of QuickBooks, just because we're getting to the 1099 section of or 1099 time of year if you do use
Yep,
this.
yep.
So just a quick reminder, you might see, and of course, it's not wanting to show up.
Did you turn on the feature, the toggle?
Yeah, it's being weird. First of all, ignore these up here. Apparently, they updated this page so that now they have the same. It's a whole thing. These export CSVs and paste Excels won't work. Just keep that in mind.
Yeah.
I need to go fix that. But what you'll see here is if you select a bunch of accounts here, you'll see that if I select this, and then you'll see at the top it says try shift clicking. If you need to select multiple accounts to add to the list of accounts to add to 1099s, you can shift click and it will automatically add all those checkboxes in for you.
And just to add, you can shift click because right tool is installed.
Yes.
You can't do it without right tool for some weird reason. Quick
Yeah.
creates screens with checkboxes, but doesn't add shift click automatically.
Yeah, exactly. And then the second thing is just if you see that make all NEC button, and these are free features, which is interesting in its own self. I don't know where in free features this is, but if you click on make all NEC, instead of having to click on each one of these and clicking on non-employee compensation,
Right.
you can just click on make all NEC, and all that's going to do is change all of these to NEC, non-employee compensation. So just a quick little thing as a reminder, if you see those buttons, and you're like, instead of asking about it, you can know that this is what this is for. I just want to put that out there to be clear.
Yep. And somebody's asking, can we get this shift click feature working on reclassify screen? That's working already. We have a feature.
We already have that in there. Now, is it always 100%? No, but
Yeah,
I mean, it's yeah.
show us where to turn that on though.
Oh yeah. So we have a setting called shift click. Let's just type in shift, as that's what I thought. So in batch pro. So this is a pro feature, admittedly. Yeah, so this is a pro feature. Shift click in all lists, literally our first batch pro feature. Interesting. And what that will do is if there is a list where we have we have added shift click, which is most pages, but there are some exceptions. Then when you come in here, you can click on a checkbox, you can hold shift and then select another checkbox, and it will literally go one by one clicking for you to check off those checkboxes. So just something that's available, a big thing Hector wanted at the time.
Yep.
So it works for a lot of things. It doesn't work for everything, but it does work for most things in QuickBooks Online where shift click isn't already existing.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So with that in mind, I believe that is the demo for most everything that's changed. There's small things that changed. There's a lot of updating that happened over the past 2 months, but most of that was most of that was just fixing, expense page was being a real pain in the butt this month, as well as the deposit page.
Yeah,
So there's a
expense
big part of
page
that.
continues to be annoying. We have to update the copy stuff to expense page as well.
Yeah, which is fine.
All right, let's go to the slide so we can wrap up the other stuff that we wanted to.
Yeah. Oh, do you want to take control now?
No, you can just put the slide up.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, so some of the things that we are
Sorry, somebody would have put the GIF up.
put up the slides again if you don't mind.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so some of the things that we are planning for 2025 is more frequent training / troubleshooting type sessions where maybe we get on a call. Mark said weekly, it's a bit ambitious, but say maybe every other week, get on a call where people just call in with trouble. Like it'll be more like a group. It'll be a group support basically. It'll be like RightTool Holics Anonymous. They go in and say, hey, I'm having this issue, and then we kind of show troubleshoot it live on the screen, and the people that are true nerds, will go in there and go, I would love to understand what's broken, why it's broken, the development process, all that stuff. So that's something we're gonna start implementing, start bringing in some of that, some more frequent, more conversational type of stuff instead of us just showing you stuff. Just tell us what's broken, and then maybe even suggestions. Right? Like people say, hey, what about this? What about that? But in a public manner, so all the users can get access to that.
Yeah.
Also offering one-on-one onboarding. So to pro users, if you're a pro user and you have a firm and you want to train a bunch of people, say, hey, could we get on a call and can you kind of just walk us through it so we get the ground running? We'll offer that. Not for free users, of course. There's not enough. Just doesn't justify it, but for pro users for sure. Large firm pricing. We're already having tons of firms calling us about getting a sort of like a fixed rate. Our pricing is going to go up in 2025. So we are going to, for firms that want to lock in a sort of a fixed cost. For firms, we'll do something, up to 50 users, up to 100 users, whatever. That way you're not worried about the money fluctuating, just having a fixed amount. Email me for that. I'll be managing all custom rates for large firms that need that. Second piece is at some point after April 15th, we are targeting to increase the price of RightTool to $75 a month.
However,
yeah, hold on, we'll get there. You've been wanting to, you're saving that however forever. By the way, so I'm kind of like the business guy trying to get enough revenue to get more staff, and Mark is just trying to figure out how to sleep less and do everything for everybody, always saying yes to everybody. So we're always sort of at the odds, but that's good. We're yin and yang, but target is for pro users to be $75 a month and $25 for additional firm user. We will continue offering discounts for annual accounts. However, one of the commitments that we're going to make is, and this is going to encourage people to become a pro user now. This is if you're a free user, this is the best time for you to become a pro user. So when we start making these changes in 2025, everyone that has already been a pro user up to now, up to this year, it's fine. You will be grandfathered into the $50 a month price. So regardless of how we increase, how we do the price increase, if we go to 60, 75, 100, whatever we go, we'll grandfather you into 50. So if you already are a pro user, that you don't have to do anything. If you become a pro user now. That way, when the price goes up, we lock you in. Okay, and that's mostly Mark's work. You can actually thank Mark for that. But I truly strongly believe that that $75 is still a valuable price. So as we bring new users into the mix, they will be at $75. Now, for the annual discounts, it's just simple, right? So it's, instead of 50, it would be 500 a year, and we will still keep that. And instead of 75, it would be 750 a year. So that's how it would be. We're also, this has been a long discussion. We want to with the price increase of Pro, we will create a middle skew, because for some people, 75 might be a big jump, right? So we're trying to figure out what that middle one looks like. So we would have to now figure out which Pro features we would include in the middle skew, or if it would be you can only turn on 1 or 2 Pro features at a time. We're still trying to figure out what that is. So in 2025, the price is going up to 75. If you become a Pro user this year, you're guaranteed to have a fixed price for the rest of the for the rest. Our website at some point early 2025 there will be a price increase. Actually, did we put likely after April 15th? So sorry, after April 15th,
I did not change anything on this slide.
You're
so.
right. After we're giving ourselves time until April 15th to build the Pro feature, but the price increase for all new users is going to go up immediately. Again, if you already are a Pro user, it doesn't matter. You're going to be grandfathered into that. Okay. We don't have a founders option, that we wanted to do. We were advised against that by our advisors for when RightTool goes public or gets investors or merges with another company or whatever, that will muddy really the waters. So we're not going to have any sort of founders options anymore. But we are going to lock in the $500 a year price, which is probably going to be the best thing we can offer for the time being. Okay, next slide. Okay, so this is the big thing that we're working on, and for us to be focusing on. Actually, let me answer Tiffany's question. So for your light, okay, so it says for your light version, it would be interesting if you're allowed to say a max of 5 Pro users at a time. So Tiffany, the way we're thinking
5 features, not users, to be clear.
Sorry, features. Yeah. So sorry. The light version would be not for firms, would be only for solos. Okay. If you're a firm, you have to be on Pro. That's how it's going to be. Now, what we're trying to figure out is what is the magic formula, whether we select a subset of Pro features that are available in light, or we allow all the Pro features, but we limit it to only a few that can be turned on at a time, 2 or 3, 1. We got to figure out what that is.
Yeah.
Just the technicalities around warning people that one's on and what's off, that's the stuff that's turning us off. So we're trying to figure it out. It could go, we could grab all the batching stuff and make it the Pro, and then all the non-batching stuff, make it light, something like that. So that's something we're still thinking about. So we have until, after tax season to think about that. So for now, we're just focused on getting RightTool as stable as possible, and getting all the new people in 2025 to be paying $75 a month, so we can hire more people and keep making the product better.
Yeah.
All right, so last slide. Let's see where we are. Can you go to
I think this is the next slide, by the way.
Yeah. Oh yeah, sorry. So what we're working on for the Pro users is some of what we call the back end stuff. So one of the big features that people are requesting is, if I go from one computer to the other, so my laptop, my desktop, my computer at home, my computer office, I want the settings to stay the same. Now, for us to do that, we would have to backup your settings into your Pro account, and then set up RightTool to automatically load the settings from the Pro account. So literally have to log in every single time, log into the RightTool servers to pull that data. This is something that we're not doing now. RightTool right now doesn't log into RightTool servers. That's why it loads so quickly. So by doing this, it will add a little bit of delay on the loading for the settings. So we got to test that. But that's what people want. And the other thing that people want is they want team deployment. So they want someone to decide what teams have access to what. Okay, my team does everything but batch deleting, or they could do only batching, or do everything but this. Or they want to maybe normalize the experience. So when they train their team on how to use QBO with RightTool, they're not training all the variables of what RightTool could do, and they're only training on one set of features that the team leader believes to be the most important ones. So that's something that we're working on. So it's basically tied together, right? So backing it up to the Pro account, being able to bring it down. The second idea that we have is activity logs. So this will be something. So right now we are not logging what people do in RightTool. Like we're just not doing that. Like we try to be as uninvasive as possible when it comes to your data. We don't have access to any of your data. We don't know who your clients are. We don't know your clients' names. You know, yes, there's some copy and pasting of client information that's happening, but all that stuff is staying in the extension, and we're not saving that information. If we develop this feature, you'll be able to opt in. You'll be able to turn this on, and then we would start having activity logs of what RightTool user is doing what. So like what screens they're going to, possibly what features they have turned on. We can't, where they click on things that we can't track, but we can only track every time the page reloads. So when a new tab opens or a page reloads, we know what URL they're in. So if we were able to turn something like this on, in theory, you could download a big spreadsheet that you can, create a pivot table and group it by client, by user, and know how much time is being spent, at least from a screen refresh perspective, on everything. So not necessarily for time tracking, but it could become sort of time tracking. But I could totally see how some firms could see usefulness on knowing what people are doing in QBO when RightTool is on. Okay. So that's actually pretty interesting. Anything to add to that, Mark?
Just another reason that we have it set up to a pro account for this backing up settings favorites is partially because of the fact that we don't ask anybody to set up anything when they download the free version, so we would have no way of really tracking who was who on the free version.
Something that could also change. We could create free accounts. I mean, but that's just not, we're not doing that for now.
Yeah.
All right, next one, pop-ups. A lot of people are reporting pop-ups in the Facebook group. They're saying, can you remove the pop-up, the annoying pop-ups or the pop-up in banking or something like that? And that doesn't work for us. Like what we want you to do is join the Facebook group, copy the URL of the page that you're in on the pop-up that you're reporting, take a screenshot and tell us what triggered the pop-up. So I clicked here, I went into the screen, I clicked save, I clicked cancel, I clicked delete. That way we can replicate it on our side. We have a lot of requests for getting rid of pop-ups. So just make sure you go into the Facebook group and those three things: the URL that you're in, the screenshot, and description of what triggered the pop-up. Okay, next one.
Apparently, 1 second. Oh, this one right here. Let's see here. Facebook. Oh, we need to get the Facebook URL real quick.
Okay, so that's our mistake. I think it's on the first slide actually. On one of those. The second slide.
Okay, it is here. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, update the slides. Yeah, it's in the slides.
Okay, and then we'll come over here. Thank you.
Okay, I'll show the slides one more time for the people that are watching.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, we'll put the slides on YouTube as well in the description.
Yeah, okay, we're good.
Okay.
Thank you.
So next slide.
Next slide, support.
So same thing, just paste the URL there. So for support, just kind of know that we are, you can paste the URL there to fix that slide too, by the way. Mark, the URL for the Facebook group is that's the YouTube channel.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
So
okay.
we are prioritizing support via Facebook. The reason for that is because we want everybody to kind of see what's going on. That way we're not being asked the same thing over and over. There's a lot of, bug reports not because we've screwed up. And again, 1% of the times we have screwed up in the past, but mostly it's just Intuit changing the pages, right? So like, it's important for everybody to know this is down so they don't get frustrated with it. So that's why we're very public with the support. You can email us and we'll get to it. Absolutely. You can submit feedback to the regular channels, but just know if it's posted on Facebook, that's going to be the first thing that we're going to attack.
Yeah.
Okay. So I know some people don't like Facebook, but it might be worth it just to be reporting feedback and also new features too. Yeah. The next slide, Mark. I think this is the last slide.
Yes.
Okay. So last slide is, you have to fix the URL on this one too. I think that was my mistake doing that.
Gotcha.
It's what the next tool that we're working on is something that I'll be working with. Literally, I'll be working with with Patrick for the most part, is we want to replicate the tools that people love in RightTool that sometimes come offline. Stuff like the paste, batch deleting, batch editing. That's probably going to be our area of focus. Is could we kind of create a more stable API version of the tool, not a Chrome extension, more of a traditional third-party app to do that. And we're hoping to have a functional beta by May 2025. If we have it earlier, we'll let you know. And then we'll let our RightTool Pro users use this tool. This is not RightTool related. It's a completely separate tool, but we're going to allow our RightTool Pro users to test this first for free. And then once we have a viable tool that works, that can be sold by itself, it will be sold as a completely separate tool. And of course, once we get there, we'll figure out what bundling the two tools could mean, because obviously people want to, if they want to use both, why wouldn't they bundle? Remember, API-based tools are typically charged by client, by QBO account, because of the way database costs work. So that's why it'll be challenging to bundle, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Yeah.
And
questions from the chat that we want to answer before we log out?
yeah, I think somebody was mentioning, sometimes it's hard to know what to use and what feature are you helpful. Admittedly, there is a challenge there, for sure. So the thing I would suggest is, one, the Facebook group is great. It oftentimes surfaces features that people didn't know about, that they're like, hey, I actually used this feature today and they really loved it. So that's one thing that's nice about the Facebook group as well, is it's good for discovery. Also, our YouTube channel does have videos that we are trying to keep updated, but admittedly, sometimes better than others.
We're behind with 2 or 3 videos. Really not that bad.
Yeah. So that will also help a little bit.
Okay, we got some open questions here. Let me see. There's some questions. Okay, so yeah, most of it is people agreeing on the batch removing billable that would be useful. Okay, there's a comment here that says, I've noticed that when you switch from one QBO client to the other, the box that asks you if you want to change all the tabs is no longer there. So all the tabs are being refreshed automatically. I think we made a change, by the way. It doesn't have the person's name who wrote this. We made a change where we automatically refresh all the tabs across the board when you switch a from one client to the other. And because of other issues related to something that was reported by Keeper, we probably want to create a separate a toggle for this. What do you think, Mark?
For the refreshing all the other tabs?
Yeah, refreshing automatically.
I mean, I'm honest to God, I thought we did have a separate feature for that.
No,
we had a sub tab for that.
It's automatically toggled. You can't turn it off.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, we could. I mean, yeah, we can working on toggle for that.
Yeah, because I think that if you don't refresh it, it eventually logs you out, which is kind of the problem.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. So if you have a particular issue with that, Facebook us or email us and we'll address it.
Yeah.
Janine has a question. She says, I installed RightTool for free, but it seemed to significantly slow down my computer. Do you have suggestions on how to use this? It's a user error. So there's a two-part answer to this. So one is Chrome extensions do slow down. A Chrome extension for QBO can, in a fractions of seconds, slow down because it's running a process before. But what Janine, the problem you might be having is that you're now using a lot of tabs that you weren't using before because of RightTool. And the problem is not necessarily RightTool, it's the fact that you're using more tabs. And Google Chrome is very, very RAM intensive with new tabs. So you might want to try Edge or Brave or Arc. Try other browsers that use Chrome that you can use it, because Chrome is just a RAM hog. It's just known for that.
And the second part of that is that I am constant. Well, and Edge is Chrome based, but it's different in how it like runs the RAM and everything. It does work on other browsers like Edge and Brave and Arc. The other part of that is I literally ordered like the worst computer on earth so I can see if I can play around and find out what exactly causes the most slowdowns where. And hopefully, because that's one of my big goals is to make it so that it can work faster, even for people who don't have necessarily like super strong computers.
Okay.
Uh, is
There's a
there a
couple.
toggle to close tags? There's a short keyboard shortcut,
Oh,
which is
there is. So you want to close, show how to close all the open tags is right there. There's
yeah.
a toggle. It's just basically a button. Show the button right there.
Yeah. So you can go to manage tabs and there's a button right here for close all tabs, and that will close every other QuickBooks online based tabs except for the one you're in. Or
Yes.
you can press Control Alt down arrow. Now I realize I said that fast.
Okay. Um, Lindy says, I haven't been able to fully learn about the new product. Can users basically do all their accounting and bookkeeping work in this app versus having to go into QBO? So Lindy,
Nope.
sorry, the misconception here is this adds to QBO. It's an add-on to QBO. So I think there was a misunderstanding. What's the difference between Pro and Pre? So Lindy is, the free one contains less features than Pro,
Yeah.
basically, as the answer.
The free version is generally the way we look at it is the free version is usually for navigational features or things that can kind of reduce clicks in small ways. Whereas pro features are usually designed around, okay, I have to do some kind of work
I
and
gotta
I
fix
need,
stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
I want to make it faster uh, to do that work. So like earlier we showed the uh, batch changing customer lines and stuff like that. Makes it so you don't have as much of that to deal with.
Yeah, the general logic is if it saves you one click, it's probably gonna be a free feature. If it saves you two or more clicks, it's probably gonna be a pro feature. That's probably the oversimplification of it, but it's probably the best one to use.
Yeah.
Somebody says in incognito mode, QBO works much faster. So maybe you want to show people how to turn on RightTool in incognito mode.
Yeah. And part of the reason that that's part of the reason that what's the word I'm looking for here? Want to use the kind of rundown computer.
Right.
Is because it could be that I have a sneaking suspicion about one reason why it's a little bit slower when right tool's on. But there's a couple of things I need to test about that. And my computer just is not good for testing it.
Yeah.
Sorry, when you go to in order to enable right tool in incognito, you go to the puzzle icon up top and click manage extensions, and then click on details for right tool. And let me go to this one actually. And inside of here, there is a thing that'll say allow in incognito. I'm in Brave, so what it's called here is allow in private. So just come in here and just turn that on, and then wham bam, you can now have right tool enabled whenever you're using the incognito version of Chrome or Brave or Edge.
Yeah. So Craig is asking, is it possible to maintain reports to print when subcolumns are hidden using RightTool subclasses? The answer is no. When we collapse the columns on a P&L by class, we're only doing it on the screen. We can't generate it on the print. The only thing that we could do is create a CSV file so you can reformat it and do it in Excel. Well, unfortunately, the printing doesn't come from the browser. It comes from a QuickBooks server. So even if we were to collapse the columns, in a P&L by class, for example, we can only export as a CSV.
Now, if you export as a CSV, it should, if you do the right tool export, which is, you can tell it's right tool because it has that dark red color for the option. Let me refresh this page so that I can, okay, there we go. Anyways, if you see here, when you export, there's an export to CSV option right here. That should. Now, admittedly, it might be if the report is sufficiently big, it might have problems. But it should export that with all the settings or all the changes that came from inside of the RightTool edits. So as you can see here, uh, it's a lot less columns in this print versus what it would have been if I had printed it manually.
Correct. I guess you have to figure out what's, what's better, having a messy report or having to export to Excel and reformat.
Yeah.
Yep.
Unfortunately, the way it goes.
Okay, I think we answered all the Q&A. We stay a little bit longer because there was a lot of Q&A. But Mark, was there anything else you wanted to cover, or we should be all set?
I think that is pretty much all we need to cover for today. And as always, I appreciate everybody showing up for the webinar. And I enjoy all the feedback and everything. And hopefully we can continue to make it work better. And Lord help me, let's hope that QuickBooks can calm down a little bit on the updates on the expense deposit page.
Awesome. Okay, so a quick question here. Kelly's asking, is there an easy way to use class report and only seeing the main class setting, like program, admin, fundraising? That's what it is, Kelly. That's what this feature is. It's you're gonna have a class and you're gonna have a subclass, and by collapsing it the way he just did it, by clicking on collapse subcolumns, it gets rid of all the subclasses. I assume that's what you're asking for.
Yeah.
So that's how it is. That's the only thing we can do. Okay. Yep. Kelly said perfect. All right. So happy holidays, guys. I'll see you in February for the next one, and I'll see you in the Facebook group.
Yeah. Happy holidays, everybody.
Bye, everybody.